Now, it's not going to allow me to pin it. You'll have to do that.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I think I'm live. If I'm live, please tell me I'm live because I'm not sure. I think I am though, because it says if I need to end. But hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. If you can hear me, can you hear me?
Put a one in the chat if you can hear Voracious One. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to be on Voracious One stage today. Okay, you can click to add Tamika's up here for support,
Okay.
and you can be heard. GJ, yep, they're confirming they can hear you. There we go.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for your support and for coming. Hi, Tamika.
Hi, Voracious. Hi, Candy.
Hey,
I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Hey, Heavy, but you up here already. Hey, MEP, Candy's up here. Hey, Gigi, how are you? And anybody I can't see right now.
yes, anybody that catches the replay, welcome, welcome.
Okay, so just a bit to give a little bit about what's happening. I don't know. Should I start with something else? Should I just jump right into it, or should we do no? Because we know each other already. So yeah, I could just jump right into it. Okay, so just a little like I have been looking at the legal system in Pennsylvania for a minute, but it came to like my everything to do at a certain point due to um some couple of situations that happened while I've been down here. So one thing, but I want to start because at we are looking at capital murder trials that happened or happening, just the outlook of how they present themselves here and what they what it is about, like what's the difference between here and other places. Because as we know, like right now I live in Pennsylvania, but I'm actually from Brooklyn, New York. So I and for being from Brooklyn, I always thought everything was the same, but it's actually not. I found out when I got here that it's things are much different.
Had
Out.
this ever been anything that you ever even took notice of before you moved? Did you know was this anything that ever crossed your mind, this topic, prior to you moving to Pennsylvania?
I'm gonna say no because I guarantee that if it had ever crossed my mind that I would have had to like know this information, I would have my degree would be in a whole different subject.
Wow, okay.
I would have definitely changed it, but I don't know if that would have made me like be like the other people or what, like change into who they are. But I think throughout my life I've been good about maintaining a good self. You know something? I have not presented on anything. I'm not sure what I'm doing right now
It's okay, take your time.
because I think it's share screen. But last time I put in the link. Why is that not happening? I think that's what I was doing before.
You have the link up that you want to share, have that
Mm.
already up on the screen, then click present and it'll show you that link, and you're going to click that you want to show that page. And you guys, listen, y'all know how it is, first shows and things like that. So, you know, we'll get through it. But thanks for everyone coming through to support. Much appreciated.
Okay, so I think I probably was doing.
There we go.
Okay, so this is, I figured I'll start with the definition of what capital murder is in the state of PA, right? So it's like here is in levels. So one is first degree, which is a criminal homicide, constitutional murder, which is committed by an intentional killing, which means the person planned and they planned it and had everything all going and created the situation. The B is the second degree criminal homicide, constitution murder of second degree when it's committed while the defendant was engaged as a principal or an accomplice in a perpetration of a felony. So if you're with somebody and you guys decide you want to commit a crime and you kill somebody, then now this is second degree. Third degree and all other kinds of murder shall be, well, all others are third degree, and that's a felony in which of the first degree. So now what that says right there is, I guess you didn't intend it. This is something that happened, right? Because it's not specific on that. So with that being said, like the different degrees of first degree, like so we know capital murder is what's considered you intentionally went out to do this. This was what you planned, like you spent weeks, months, days, or however long trying to like carry this plan out.
Okay.
So with that being said, capital murder on a case is and you need some good evidence in order to get somebody on that, because you had to prove that they was thinking this or whatever days before. um so that's just the one thing I just wanted to share about what capital murder is. And then if anybody have any questions or anything, or
So just to confirm, Voracious, capital murder is the top one. It's the one that you get the most time for, um things of that nature. If it's capital murder.
yes, capital
Okay.
murder is the one that like that's the one, because it's that's like hiring a hitman pretty much, so you and the hitman go down for that
Okay.
because it's a planned thing.
Okay. And once again, I heard you say that for a capital murder case, you really have to have like irrefutable proof that you did this, right?
Right,
Supposedly. Okay.
right.
Okay.
So wait, I tried to have them in order. Okay, so another thing, another um situation is here. When I moved to Pennsylvania, and the first time that like I ever was in the courtroom, the one thing that I noticed that that in God we trust wasn't there, right?
Mhm.
So I questioned that, like, why, where is in God we trust, And because I like I said, being from where I'm from, in every courtroom is there, and it looks pretty much just like that. And if when I've been to other states and been to a courtroom, not saying I go around the states going to courtrooms, don't think that, but I've just, you know, so it's always there. So when I moved here and that wasn't there, that seemed like it was real crazy to me. So then, I asked and they was like, oh no, that's not on there. And so then I started researching around like, okay, why isn't that on there? Right? Because I feel like that's something important. I don't know. For me, it gives me some type of security. Like, okay, if I pray to God, this is going to go in the way that it could. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's me. Like, what is some of you guys' opinion?
Well, for me, I will say this. Now don't come like I'm some heathen or nothing. I believe in God. Of course I do. Of course I do. But for me, it's having that um posted in a courtroom. To me, it doesn't hold that much to me because I've never been in a situation where I'm in court or the courtroom or anything like that. But for me, just on the outside looking in on things that I've observed, of course you want, especially if it's something you didn't do and you fighting for your life, of course you want God to cover you and bring you through that situation. But for me personally, my whole thing is I want to have people in that courtroom that are fair, that are unbiased, not racist, things of that nature. So I mean, I guess in a way that's stating, I want God involved, but that's the instance that I want God involved. Like, please, like, God, please let these people that I'm in here fighting for my life for, you know, let them be good people, a jury of my peers. Let this be a good jury of my peers, um taking in this information, and have them know right from wrong, and not prejudging me based on my race, age, just anything like that. So I mean, I guess in an aspect God is involved in that, getting good people. But to for me to have it like I need to see that on the wall, I don't really need that. I need to have a jury who's willing to be open minded, listen to all the evidence presented, ask the right questions to themselves. When they're congregating and discussing the case and things like that. That's more what I need. I don't know. What about you, Tamika?
Um, okay, I'm with you on the subject of that because I don't need to see. And okay, well, that's just like the money. Like, I don't have to see that on the money to actually use it. So I'm with you on that, Candy. I don't need to see that to actually, hope that my case will be heard or anything like that. That just lives inside of me on that belief, not on the wall.
Yeah. Okay. But you're stating when you saw that it was immediately noticeable and kind of like, wait a minute, we don't have this. So you thought it was something that was kind of mandated for all courtrooms to have something of that nature posted?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've always thought that because like I don't know, I've just always saw it. And it's just like so for me it's like you know how sometimes you just need a confirmation that there are some good people here,
Mhm.
and that says that because a lot of bad people they can't even be around the word, right? And I don't know, it's just like a confirmation. Like it allowed me to know that it was nothing but shenanigans moving forward,
Oh, okay.
and every time I went, it sure enough it was shenanigans after shenanigans. Like I've paid so many fines being here, and it's just because I don't know. It's like you lose the case for no reason. When you walk in, you already lost for real. So it's just like, and it's not for nothing like criminal. Like it was just always like for school. It was like for garbage, and you were like, well, I didn't know that was gonna fly down the street. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's just crazy, like the kind of stuff that I had experienced. And that was just one thing when the first time I went to the court, and I noticed, and I was like, wow, where is that God, in God we trust? And then I was like, you know what? And I pretty much said like what Gigi has said. I said that means the devil's in here. And sure enough, I feel like he's been in there. But I pray and everything before I go, so just think if I didn't pray, how much worse it could be, if that wasn't in
Yeah.
my spirit, but it was just I don't know if it's a comfort for me, even though I know it's up to the people, but who like who are these people? I don't know.
Hmm. Let me ask a quick question.
Hmm.
So you moved to that area, right? Now I look every look by now everybody knows I'm from Alaska. I live in Texas now. But when you moved, you stated you're from New York and you moved to that area. So in that area you live, what's the racial makeup like? Is it predominantly black, predominantly white? Is it a mixed environment? Is it everyone? What's the makeup there in your area?
Um, it's hard. Like, okay, so I can say it like this. It's odd to see you have fewer places that you go and see an all white couple or all black couple. It's mixed everywhere else. Like it's just mixed.
Okay.
Like so it but the people who are in power of the all white couples like that.
Okay. You know what? I did get in the midst of you talking, I did a little googling, and here I'll share my screen and show everyone because we you get when we're dealing with the law, you know sometimes it's good to know these things. So let's see real quick. I'm gonna just share real quick. You guys can see. So it says, according to the 2022 census, the racial makeup of Philadelphia is as follows. It's 33.5% white, non Hispanic, 39% Black or African American. Now that's very interesting to me. Other, which they're putting Hispanic, 7.93%, Asian, non Hispanic, 7.54%, white Hispanics, because there are a lot of Hispanics that do check. Even though they're Hispanic, they check white. 3.55, other 5%. I'm not quite sure what 2+ means, maybe biracial. 4% native, 0 island, 0. So that's what they're stating according to the 2022 censuses. So just so we know the environment we in. So I just, thought of that. Okay. Go ahead, Voracious.
So then I was looking at that like after I noticed. So then I said, let me look up and see is there anything about it. So come to find out, in 1956, they wait a minute. I was trying to put it up. I was supposed to be putting it up.
MEP has a question. Are you in Pittsburgh or Philly?
I am in Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. MEP looks like she has some experience with Pittsburgh. She said Pittsburgh is very racist.
So yeah, this particular article was just generated like One Nation Under Who, and this is the PA House questioning, do you keep that on the courtroom, like in the courtroom? And that's like seems like when they stop having like In God We Trust, because this seal right here is there, that and the prisoner of war is there, and there's one more that they have, but they felt at that time they felt that it was more important to be that like it may have been offensive to the LGBTQ community. I'm not
Mhm.
even sure how
To
that
say it,
even.
to put In God We Trust.
Yeah, because it's a discrimination, because it's
Oh,
like, oh, you can because what about people who don't believe and then they have to come into court and that's their violating their rights type
oh
thing.
wow.
Like I said, yeah, I
Ugh.
felt like it's that stretched, but apparently that is what decided them to make the decision to um not keep going, to make the decision to that we don't have to have that. We can just have the Pennsylvania state seal. And then like that's what it is because that is there.
Okay.
And then too, you never know, because then I was looking further, right, and I found this article. Um, it's part of the New Yorker, and this article is talking about the judge who actually felt like, oh, in God we trust should be displayed in every courtroom in every state, and it had been like that, and that took place in 1962, but and so that I guess that's why it's 19 years.
And what
Yeah,
year did they take it down?
well, in PA, it apparently it happened like in the 80s,
Okay.
but I didn't see anything on any other state that said that, that they were partaking too. I'm gonna actually look up more on information on that, but I thought that was interesting that made it even more interesting to me that that was a big factor to take down, like what exactly, like the underlying and everything else. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, first you already piqued my attention, but now you went through all of this to even take it out. Like, what does that mean and why?
Hmm.
V1 is so many hurtful. um Gigi, what about the brother who was locked up, had life, and he was innocent? Let him out at 80. I think he was just released. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I read something about that. I really do. I
hmm
think I read something about that.
Because that's the whole thing, is like what I'm finding, that people are not talking about this, and people not even aware, like, because I feel like sometimes people think, oh well, they shouldn't have did what they did, and then you just go about your own life and just keep moving forward. But then sometimes you get smacked with it and you like, wait a minute, it don't that's not right. That's not how it's supposed to be,
Hmm.
and you actually realize like how many people are in the system that should not be in there, and they're just in there because people are trying to keep their numbers in a certain stance or whatever.
Okay. MEP says it means they want us to move away from God.
And that's the way I
Yeah.
feel.
Hmm. That, yeah, it's like they're trying to accommodate everyone so much to the point they're just moving away from basic fundamentals that most of us do agree with. The majority
Right.
of us do believe in God. Even if you practice a different religion, you still believe in a higher being. you know um you could be Muslim, but you believe there's a higher being. You believe
Right.
there's someone, but it's like they're trying to accommodate all the other people that I believe society is getting away from basic fundamentals that the majority of us, even though it may seem as though, oh, we want to just be open and free and we want to do this and we want to do that, that still is the minority. But a certain minority, and y'all can read between the lines of what I'm saying, there's a certain minority um that wants things accommodated to them. you know there's a certain minority, oh, we don't want, when a child is born, we don't want, male or female put on the birth certificate. There's a certain um group of people that are pushing a certain agenda. And that's all I say on that. Look, I ain't trying to get canceled or nothing like that, but I'm a still keep it real. That really is what's going on. There's a certain, segment of the population that is pushing a lot of agendas to where they're making people feel like, oh, you're going against my rights if you say that. It's just like, look, here we go. Look, Granny, look, Gangsta Granny don't care about her she getting canceled. Gangsta Granny said, let's keep it real. The LGBT community has taken over. The lack of respect from them is awful. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's go on. Let's keep it moving, voracious one.
I couldn't get off of mute. Sorry. Um, Okay, so then the other thing I'm looking at, right? So I was trying to look at the capital murder cases in PA, like the numbers over the years and stuff like that, right? And it appears that the numbers that was coming up, because I know for last year they said it was 8 capital murder cases in like the one particular county, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, I know that to be false. So it seems like they may be smudging the numbers or maybe at a certain time because last year I counted 10 that went,
Mhm.
so I was like, what happened to the other two, in so I don't know if like how the numbers are going or whatever. So then I was like, okay, so I needed more time to like actually get those numbers together. But then I came across this other article that was basically um, where they did a PA capital murder study ties to case trajectory and defendant income. And basically, it's saying what we already know is that the lower your income is the more chances that you're going to get a public defender and then or a court appointed attorney, which is getting paid by the state. And they're not going to fight as hard as if you got a paid lawyer.
Mhm.
So that's what we know. But even though if you're a lawyer, you're a lawyer, you know. Are you supposed to work less? Well, from what I knew, I do know that they overload them, but at the same time, what they lack here, I feel like, and I don't know if lawyers have one. I feel like they should because the construction guys do, is unions. You just make it so that you can't be overworked. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like they don't stand up for their rights. Like they just, oh, they going to take this and take that because if if I don't think if I was a lawyer and you stack me with a whole bunch of cases, I'm not going to neglect any case because that's just who I am. And I feel like if you're not that, you shouldn't be a lawyer. But apparently, they stack all these cases on them, and then they're like, "Oh, I can't fight this. I can't put all my all into it." But from what I know, the paralegals do all the work anyway. So all you have to do is really present the case. So I'm not sure what the problem is, but they already did the study on that. So we know that public defenders and court appointed attorneys are not gonna fight for you as much. They said because at this time is when this article was done, the death sentence was still in place. So they were saying about all the deaths, the all the people who was getting sent to death, but then it decided the state opened up from Philadelphia to Harrisburg to see certain cases. And when they opened the cases up, they saw that a lot of those guys or men and women were not even supposed to be on the that they had been, it was an injustice and they had to free a lot of them. And I think it's still to the point where they are actually still in the process of freeing some of them that was
Mhm.
from Eastern Pennsylvania. So that was a good thing that whoever did this article did because that brought the attention that needed to happen.
Okay. Now, what are the rates of um them the capital murder convictions in Pennsylvania as opposed to other states? Are they higher?
Oh, wait. Okay. They were higher until they took the death penalty off the plate. After the death penalty came off the plate, they dropped drastically.
Oh, so Pennsylvania was just all for just unaliving prisoners. That's was their main thing. That was their go
Yeah,
to.
that was their yeah, that was it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, and that is the like that's one of the factors. Like, why would you want "In God We Trust" in the courtroom? Like, this is what we was doing, you know. Well, we wasn't doing it, but um, yeah. So the other thing, so that was about the capital murders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. So another thing that actually was funny to me, not funny at all, but it was a jury of your peers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've always thought of a jury of your peers to be everybody from the community, right? And Pennsylvania has a way to get the jurors to by voting your driver's license just like every other state. But the funny thing about the one county is that you don't get a black juror. And when you talk to the lawyers and talk to them about like, hey, so at least it'll be a jury of the peers, and they're like, ha 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 ha, no, you're gonna get old nurses and people retired and old men and old white men, whatever. There's almost never any really a black person there, right? So that was like, wow. And he ha ha ha'd it. So it was like the extra wow. And I was like, that can't be legal. He was like, well, that's how it is. Just so they don't even come up in the system. So however this particular county have it stacked, somehow they are not letting the whole they found a way to cheat the system.
In regard to how they made up the juries, because
Yeah.
when I think of a jury of my peers, for instance, like if I was in some type of trouble where I had to do a trial jury and things like that, I think of a jury of my peers as being people in my same age group. you know um they don't all have to be black, but yes, I need to have some black people there, a mixture of the community, a true jury of my peers, from the community. But what are you stating is going on there?
There are is you may be able to get a male, but they mostly the
You
lawyers
may, come on, you may.
you may be able to get a male on the jury, but it's going to be mostly women.
Why is that? Did it say why?
He just said that's how it comes up. When I asked
Wow,
that
that's
question,
not really good enough. That's not a
it's
good
not,
enough explanation.
it's not, but I'm hoping to shed some light on that situation and then be able to find out how this is okay. How have you not been getting black people on there? Because it's been to the point, like I said, I've been looking at this, like this particular courtroom. I have been there when I was in school. We had to go there for stuff. So we had to go there and sit through cases and stuff. So I've been noticing for years. And then it came to the point where I was there more than I wasn't. And then I'm like, hey, it's really not any black people. Well, like where are they at? You know? And it's just like I don't get it and I don't understand it. And I actually work in a different county. I actually work in Allegheny County when I was working
Mhm.
before. And my workers, I used to have to like give them days off so they can go to jury duty, and they were black. So I know in Allegheny County, I know this is happening. So why is this not happening for the county right next door? So that's what's kind of that's another thing that's like has piqued my interest on this and what's really going on.
Okay. Yeah, that seems a little ridiculous to me that, when you're requesting a jury of your peers, you're not really getting a jury of your peers. I wonder if there's something that, because, the juries have to be picked. I wonder if there's anything that can be done about that if you don't see a fair representation of your peers on the jury.
That was my question as well. And the way I got it is that they will make the person who is, I guess their life is in the hands. They will make them feel like, well, no, this is pretty much what you got. That could take more days. That could take this, and then they'll postpone your case. So it's like a way to deter you from keep trying to pick the jury because we might have to stop and go back next month because they only do trials once a month.
Hmm.
So we might have to not go now and go once a month. So it's like you get stuck between a rock and a hard place, I feel like.
Wow. Okay. And I wonder if people have, it makes me wonder if people have said something about it. Because, we all hear about things where, okay, it's all white jury.
Yeah.
That happens, and I can see if that's in the community that you live in, it, I guess you don't have an issue if that's really, because there are some communities where really there aren't very many people of color there. So that you may get that, but
Right.
in Philadelphia, yeah.
I'm actually in the Pittsburgh side, so that's like a whole like 4 hours away. And it's a whole, and I'm gonna tell you, that's the east and this is the west. And it is just that far apart when you mentally think about it, because the behavior, it's different. It's different. And you just
Okay.
don't know, and a lot of them, they don't fight. Like if you're the type of person and you like fight for yourself, like without physically fighting, you're a threat to them. They rather see you physically fighting because then they can hold that and like get you settled under that, than if you like can fight with your words. It's a problem for them.
Wow.
I'm in Penn Hills, MEP.
Okay.
Right, Hexley.
Gigi said, nope. The white woman who shot through the door, all white jury. She got manslaughter. What's that? About 5 years?
Yeah. Meanwhile, that was, yeah. Yep. Matter of fact, I
Okay.
think manslaughter is 3 to 5.
Oh, I was trying to get to this one. I'll get back. Hexley's Cauldron says a jury of my peers would not include Kyle and Ashley from the suburbs, whose only experience with black people is through TV. I definitely agree on that. Okay. MEP is asking, do you live in Pittsburgh or somewhere in the valley? And you clarified that. And let's see, Gigi says, but you have that right. When you're scared and locked up, it's hard for them. MEP stating she has a friend in Penn Hills. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So we- and then I just had another article about and I feel like I touched this already, but when I read it, it was kind of interesting. the criminal defense attorney or public defender. And which I talked about this, and it was that, when you have the paid lawyer, it is going to be the best for your case, right? So you think and you go and you start looking, oh, okay, how much to pay lawyer? Because mostly for anything about $10,000, you put 2,000 down, and you got the lawyer. You get started, and then on that, or I guess as they say, you put it on your credit card or whatever. But when it comes to like a capital murder case trial, your lawyer, when you start looking for the lawyers, it's like 50,000. So that 2,000 down is not an option. Now it's 10,000 down, you know, and the case is probably not going to go anywhere until you've at least paid half of the 50,000, you know, and 50,000 is, and that's at the low point of the high end lawyers. Like you may even find, like, if you get somebody like, who want to have a status like maybe Al Sharpton or somebody, they may be charging you about 70,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what what are you, like, what are your options? Like, how do you, like, who plans, unless you're like a career criminal and you've been turning over banks and everything like that, that you got just 50,000 just saved over there. Not many people have $50,000 just to drop on a lawyer. Some
Mhm.
people don't even make that in 2 years. So it's just like, why? And I said earlier, if I would have known about the whole thing, I definitely would have went into a different field. So because I was like, why do you need to make that much money? Because I could corner the market, because I don't think I would charge nobody $50,000 for anything.
Oh
Because
man,
like I
and the
said,
and that $50,000, that's just to get started. That's barely doing any legwork for a case, a capital murder case. You think you gonna pay? Look, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just for them to delve into your case, and then they're gonna be asking you for some more.
you're like, oh, we had to give this person some money because they had this information for us. Well, that sounds like you buying information now. You know what I'm saying? If this is part of your case, like, this is what you're supposed to use. But yeah, that's like, that's like the other thing. Like, you never think about, like, oh, the lawyer is going to be that much.
Yeah. So I, like I said, I don't know too much about this, but I know that I always hear um people talking about, basically if you have a public defender, like you're toast. Like especially if you're innocent, you sometimes, you know, and the thing of it is, that's really sad to say. It's like if you go into the legal field and you're a lawyer, you should go in there regardless of where you're at, if you're a public defender or not.
I
You
agree.
should always go into that wanting to do the absolute best job you can for your client. So you shouldn't be there and just shuffling cases and things like that, waiting for your big moment to go to a private firm or anything like that. I would hope, you know, which, but they always say that, lawyers don't have any integrity and things like that. I'm not saying that's true, but somewhere along the line, I think for a lot of them, they lose it. Even though it's a field, whether you're a public defender or not, you're still going to be making a good living. I think. I don't know. I've never looked into it. How much public. Look, let me start. Let me do it. Let me do it. I can do it. Continue on. But I'm just saying, a lot of people, for a lot of people, they feel like that's a death sentence to them, having a public defender.
Yeah, because they really don't go into it like, a paid lawyer would. Um, but even with the public defender, like I feel like you, no matter what your job is, you should be the best at your job. Because even if you waiting for a law firm to pick you up, I would use cases like that to like make my name shine. So somebody gonna pick me up quicker. If that's what I'm waiting for. If you slugging around and stuff like that, they're gonna be like, oh no, he gonna get to my law firm and do the same thing. So I feel like you should do if this is your job, be the best. If your job is a sweep a corner, you should be the best corner sweeper there is. I just feel like that. If that's no matter what you do.
Yeah. So I did get some information. It says according to Indeed, the average salary for a public defender in the United States is $68,942 per year, which is higher than the average salary for all occupations, but lower than the national average salary for other lawyers, which is 73,589 per year. It's given me in my city. It says in San Antonio, Texas, the average salary for a public defender is $72,787. So, and it says the median entry level salary for a public defender is 47,500, and for local prosecuting attorneys 50,000. So let me see. Now let me see, how much do private lawyers make? We have any new comments?
Hold up, yeah, I see MEP. There's a public defender's office, but a lot.
Oh, you guys, it's a vast difference. So in 2022, the median salary for lawyers was 135,740. The highest paid 25% of lawyers made 208,980, while the lowest paid 25% made 94,440. So that's a vast difference.
Mm,
A very vast difference. And you don't think that they know that?
which is
Like,
why
like,
I will
like, you
work
think I'm
hard
doing
so
all
I
this
can get
work
over
for this little bit of money? You think I'm doing all this investigating for this little bit of money when I should be making XYZ? You know what I'm saying?
No, when you start out on anything, you start out at the low end. Just like when I started out as a social worker, I had to start out at the low end because I needed the experience first. But then once I got to the experience and then once I got my name, that's when it was like things became different for me. So
Yeah.
it's the same thing in their
My best
field.
friend is
Like,
a social worker, and just to increase her pay and everything, she did, go get her master's. And then that's when really more opportunities came.
yeah. So and they have to do the same thing. Like, they don't I'm not going to say they have to work any harder than anybody else who has a skill because everybody who have a skill when you first start, you got to prove yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so MEP said there's a public defender's office, but a lot of time they are private attorneys. Some of the spaces make the private attorneys perform those cases in order to work in the county. And that's true because there is a attorney right now, and she's a county assistant and she's a private attorney, but her hands be tied on a lot of cases. So whatever it is, like I said, it's a lot going on in this county, and I'm about to find out. But I think I did. Miss Gigi was like, I'm scared for us. I wasn't so fearful, but today I see the 60s facts. It's definitely 60s here.
Mm-mm.
So I'm still trying to
I don't know. I just can imagine that just being a very hard, a lot of people, especially when they have a loved one that does get locked up, and of course, when you have your family riding for you, trying to get you out of whatever the situation may be, literally families go bankrupt trying to defend their loved ones when they're locked up, especially when they know, like, my son or my daughter, or my husband, whoever their loved one is innocent. It really does, it bankrupts families. People put their homes up, things like that, you know and honestly, there's no regulation to it, as far as I know. Like, literally, there's no regulation to it, especially when you can only hope and pray that you get a public defender that cares about the situation, and then you're kind of if you don't, you're kind of at the mercy of every other lawyer. You
right,
really have to give them, unless you get a lawyer, how a lot of big firms do take cases, pro bono and things like that. Unless you happen to luck up on with a good lawyer that maybe is possibly doing some pro bono. A lot of firms do that, just to keep the money right, keep the books right, and have some write-offs and things like that. So you can only pray that you get put in that position where you're blessed with something like that. But other than that, you just never know.
right. That becomes a whole here. That becomes a whole another thing, because it's just like they go after you for your the taxes on your house. Like I don't, it's different here. Like I think it's hard because some of the black people don't know they black, and some of the white people don't even know they white though. But it's like you just but then how the like I said, the people who literally make the decisions and stuff, they are all of majority of one suit, and they live nowhere wherever they're governing. So they really don't care, and there's no like no investments in it.
Hmm.
So you really like the people who do like own stuff here, like you'll see like the black people, they be on their stuff, because the ones that's not, they lose it. They done tore their house down and whatever. But then you have the ones that's very anal, and you understand why they're anal, because if they not, these people gonna come try to take their stuff from slip it from right under them. And it's just like that's it kind of like living back in I can't so I'm not going to even compare it to slavery, because I'm not going to disrespect the slaves like that. But
Hmm.
I get an idea of at some point this is what they went through. But for like me, it's a backtrack, because we was already past this, but they had certain opportunities they had here. Like I was able to come here, finish school, stuff like that. So it was like, and then I'm like, oh, but then I applied for these scholarships, and I'm like, okay, I'm still here. I got it. Well, being who I am, right? At first, when I got the scholarships, I was like, I don't care. When I graduate, I'm out. But then it played on my conscience, and then I wasn't out. I was like, okay, I have to work for this many years here, and that's what I'm gonna do. Um, right now, I know everything happens for a reason. So here I am now, looking at what I've been looking at apparently since I first got here, but I wasn't really paying attention to it like in a way that I had been before. Because even like when it comes to picking a lawyer, like how do you pick a good lawyer when you don't know anything about law that's in, like people, if you're a career criminal, you know every lawyer. But if you're not, how do you pick a good lawyer as an average person? Hold up. MEP got two comments. Said when I was younger, my aunt offered me to buy me a house and move to Pittsburgh the valley, and I was like, no, thank you. I'll keep paying rent. You know why? Because houses is you can get like a 5 bedroom house, huge house here, for like 40, $50,000. So that's yeah. So that I could see why that would happen, but it'd be a trick. They sure don't. I have first cousins and nieces and nephews that no one would know they are black. Oh, that's about the yeah. But yeah, so I am going to kind of share this with you guys because the show, and this is the basis, so this is like my first show, just the definition of why this is why we're here. So now why are we here and why have I chosen to do this? Um I decided that I didn't decide. Uh one night decided that I needed to be more into this legal system here. Like I said, it was a time when I kept like, you know what, and then I was can't even get it out. There was a time when we had been to so many courtrooms, like for the fines and stuff like that, that I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. They're not getting any more of my money, right? So then I just did things differently and whatever, and I got the help my daughter needed. And once I got that in place, like all everything happened. Everything was good. However, so then now what happened is that I found myself I am married. I have been married for I'm stuck. Wait a minute. 20, 30, 32, 30 years now. I've been married for 30 years now. So one night my husband goes out and with a friend of his, so he thinks, and a situation happened. The man attacked my husband. My husband wound up shooting him. The man dies, and my husband is faced with a capital murder um, charge. Um, and like I described in the beginning, capital murder is intentional. So how we know it wasn't intentional is because the gun was the man's that my son, uh, the gun was the man's that my husband had to fight to get it from him. My son was with my husband that night when all of this happened, and it's like they pretty much kind of used my son against my husband. I feel like, and it's just us, and this is the situation that we've been in. So now with the particular county is Westmoreland County, and I'm going to do these shows so that I can put it out there like what's happening. And I just have questions and I can't get questions. I mean, I can't get the answers. I've written the governor twice, and the last time I read him, yeah, this is all before my husband had been sentenced. And I haven't written him since he's been sentenced. So from here, like I'm also like I've been now that I'm able to move around and stuff like that, I'm going to be going to Harrisburg. Like this is going to be my mission to help my husband get home because he doesn't deserve to be there. It was self defense, and he cannot help that he overpowered the guy. The guy was bigger than him too. So the mere fact that he was able to overpower him, then that told me a lot. But at the same time, in my life, I'm dealing with my son that saw this, and the fact that now he doesn't have the trust with the police force because they pretty much I would say bamboozled him and used him against his father. So this is why this is like it's not a hobby for me. This hasn't been a hobby for me for at least almost 3 years now. It's just been what I've been doing, looking up cases, laws, and stuff like that, and just going forward. So I appreciate everybody coming in. I appreciate everybody coming in and showing support. And I ask that you continue to come and hear the story. I have the transcripts, I have everything. I'm going through everything. Anybody who knows anything, I appreciate the information. I appreciate any information that you would have. And I just want to my goal is to just get my husband home, and not only my husband, because at the end of the day I am a social worker, and I feel like God has given me some type of calling with this, and I can actually help others come home, because especially though when I read that article I felt like it was telling me something, because the particular article where they found it was that was in the Eastern PA section. So now maybe we need to shed some light on the Western PA section and get whoever need to come home, because honestly, if a self defense is self defense, and if he had been Caucasian, I wouldn't even be having this problem. But if he had been Caucasian, he wouldn't have been my husband. So that's that. And but I just feel like that in my heart, like this is what we have to do to get him home, because one I don't have $50,000 to get nobody. That's like my down payment for my house or something. Like, what we doing here? Thank you all for listening. I'm over for any questions.
And thank you for sharing,
Yeah,
you
yes. Thank you for sharing your story. And I really hope everyone continues to tune in. This was the first show. We're just getting started. Voracious One is just digging into this. But I think that's commendable, that you're doing this to assist your husband, trying to clear his name and get out. Um Thank you for sharing, and I'll be tuning in. And I hope you guys do too.
Yes, please do. Because I didn't give you any details on the case, so and that was what I did leave out in a lot of places. But I just wanted you guys to kind of look at the um the other aspects, and the for me, the "In God We Trust" was a sign that I should have left then, and I didn't, and now this is where we are. But we'll be out of this at some point. And I appreciate y'all. Everybody, make sure you like, comment, share, and I will so you can get the notification next time I go live. Thank you.
Okay.
Have
All
a good
right.
night.
Bye, everybody.
bye everybody.
Later.